Welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach. We know that becoming the healthiest version of yourself isn't just about what you eat or telling you what to eat or giving you a meal plan. That's why at Healthy Steps Nutrition, we focus on a holistic approach, looking at support systems, stress management, mindset, sleep, exercise, lifestyle, and of course, nutrition. Healthy Steps Nutrition coaches work with clients individually to create customized plans paired with accountability and support to achieve amazing results. I'm your host, Nicole Aucoin, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of the Healthy Kids Cookbook, 100% kid-approved recipes the entire family will love. Today's episode is with one of our lead dietitians, Amanda Haar. She specializes in women's health and hormone health. We're actually launching a 6-week challenge on January 24th. You can learn more about that challenge and lock in your spot if you click the link in the show notes. Today's episode is all about the new year. Let's be honest. New year comes New Year's resolutions and all of the things that we're going to make all these changes. Instead, in this episode, we're going to help you create a plan that you can actually stick with. I was pulling up some research and it's pretty interesting. If we look at 2020, 44% of UK people that responded to this survey and 43% of Americans had a resolution to eat healthier. In 2019, more than half of Americans wanted to eat healthier. 59% said they wanted to exercise more, and 48% said they wanted to lose weight. In 2018, it was all about getting in shape and saving money, over 53% of people. So if we look at over the past 3 years, most people said that they want to lose weight, get in shape, eat better, exercise. Awesome. Save some money. I think all of those are really great resolutions. But the problem is people don't stick with those resolutions. If we look at the research of success and failure over the first 6 months, there's some pretty interesting statistics. So if we look at this, after 1 week, so let's look at January 1st to January 7th, 75% of people are still successful. After 2 weeks, the number drops down to 71%. After 1 month, so by the end of January, only 64% of people said that they stuck to their New Year's resolution. After 6 months, it's 46% said they were still successful. Now, that's a pretty interesting statistics, but if you look at the people if you compare those statistics to the people who don't set any resolutions, it's only 4% of people are successful just looking at similar goals. So New Year's resolutions somewhat could be effective. But let's look at what are the reasons why they weren't effective. Okay, this is pretty interesting results and statistics, and this is one of the reasons why this podcast episode is so relevant, because if you want to achieve something, if you want to make a New Year's resolution, we want you to stick with it. We want you to become the healthiest version of yourself. So, reasons why people failed. This is from a 2014 study. So if we look at this study, 35% of people who failed their New Year's resolution said they set unrealistic goals. It makes sense. If you listen to the radio, if you look at a magazine cover, we are programmed to make unrealistic goals. Lose 30 pounds in 30 days, lose 10 pounds in 10 days. That's not realistic to maintain long term. If we look at other reasons why, 33% of people that filled out the survey said that they didn't track their progress. That's one of the reasons why we track habit compliance within the Healthy Steps Nutrition app. It's another reason why we track biometrics monthly. I want people to see the results. That success breeds motivation to continue. If you're just doing something to do it, but you don't see the success, you can get distracted and bored and lose motivation. We don't want that at all. Next reason, 23% of people failed their New Year's resolutions because they forgot their New Year's resolutions. What? You were so confident you wanted to do X, Y, and Z thing, but you forgot about it. Why did you forget? Maybe because you didn't talk to people about it. Maybe because you didn't write it down. Maybe because you didn't really create a plan to be successful. So this is why this episode is so important. We want you to be intentional with your decisions. Okay, I just gave out one of our 3 things. But this week's episode is so much fun. So, new year, new you, how to make your nutrition and health plan stick in 2022 and become your best self. So, I hope you enjoy this episode. If you're looking for more help, definitely click the link in the show notes. Make sure you stay tuned till the end because we are talking about one of the most exciting initiatives that we are launching actually this weekend at Healthy Steps Nutrition headquarters location in Deerfield Beach. You can do this virtually on your own, but I highly recommend you do this one thing that I'm going to talk about at the end. Enjoy this episode. Amanda, welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast.
It's always great to be here, Nicole.
Can you believe that it is 2022?
On one hand, I'm so excited.
We are done with 2021.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the holidays are over. People are getting back in school. Vacations are over. We're getting back into a routine. And, I think it's always interesting, right? So many people set New Year's resolutions to get healthy, lose weight, get back in the gym. I mean, it's astounding the number of people that set health-related resolutions. And, by the 6th week of the year, most people have already failed those New Year's resolutions. And it really comes down to this all or nothing microwave society that we live in, right? We want to do all the things today, and then it's no wonder we feel super overwhelmed. So today we want to talk about 4 specific things that our listeners can do to really stick with the plan that they create in 2022 to become the healthiest versions of themselves. I'm so excited about this. This is my personal passion. Like, we need to get out of the vicious cycle of dieting and going all out and then feeling burnt out and truly make health a way of life.
And I love that we're also going to dive into, what are the shifts in our mindsets? Well, I mean, it's all related, right? But what can we shift in our nutrition? What can we shift in our mindset in order to make those things happen, in order to make those things stick?
Let's dive in. So tip number 1, we've kind of already alluded to it, but we have to slow down and focus on one thing at a time. The research shows when you just focus on one thing at a time, you are 80% successful to maintain that one thing over the course of a year. Focus on 2, 3 things, it's less than 5% success rate. And when we think about when people decide they want to get healthy, on January 1st, right? They go to the gym, they start spending so much time in the kitchen prepping every meal, they stop drinking completely, they start drinking a gallon of water a day. Like, there's 20 things that have added up in them trying to get healthy and lose weight, right?
Oh, that sounds exhausting. Yep. And that kind of reminds me of like anytime we think of like the detox plans where we're doing like 50 different things at once, like usually those are short-term type of things and sometimes meant to be short-term. But if we naturally pile things on in our life, it's really hard to keep doing all those things.
We live in a society where busy is better, right? And we just keep adding more and more things to our calendar. And then when we try to add on the pressure of getting healthy and then not being able to stick with that, makes us feel like failures, and it's super frustrating. It's a vicious cycle. So instead, let's just focus on one thing at a time and be consistent with that one thing, because at the end of the day, consistency trumps any diet, anything. Like, we have to be consistent because those daily actions create our habits, which turns into our routine, which is our lifestyle. And if our daily actions are putting us into a positive way, our lifestyle will eventually be where we want it to be. So we really need to slow down. I want to talk about the second thing though. The second thing is probably one of my favorites. We need to surround ourselves with people who are a few steps ahead of us. Amanda, you really think about this in 3 different categories. Talk to me about the 3 categories that you focus on with, surrounding yourself with people who are a few steps ahead of you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love that we are people that have so many dimensions to us. And, we think about health, right? Like, that is the way we primarily work with people, is health. But there's all these things that go around it. And it's why we work with people in a more holistic sense, because we think about ourselves improving health-wise, professionally, and also in relationships. So spiritually, with our families, with our relationships, and really thinking about who we're intentionally spending our time with, or what we're intentionally spending our time on, is really going to shift our directions.
No, when we started interviewing people who've lost 100+ pounds on this podcast, Nutrition Made Simple, almost every single time someone talked about the support system and the family and their friends, their people that they worked with, how they all supported them on their journey. They were super intentional with who they spent time with, and they surrounded themselves with people who were super positive. So if we first look at the health component, our nutrition, our exercise, do you have people who are positively influencing your health, nutrition, exercise decisions?
Yeah. And that's at home, in social circles, and also at the workplace.
I think it's important to look at intentionally positioning yourself next to people who are going to positively support you. But then also you have to think about the negative side too, right? Like if you have someone, I'll give an example. This is not my husband because he's likely the one that's going to drag me out for a run or drag me to the gym. But if he was constantly like, why are you going to work out? Like, no, you need to do this at home. You need to do that. And then if I felt bad going to the gym or doing something, that would not be in alignment of why I want to work out or maintaining exercise consistently. So, if you have people that are around you that are not positively supporting, they're negatively supporting, maybe it's time to take a step back or bring someone else closer to you that is going to be that positive support system.
You're right. And that kind of makes me think about, I know one of our clients, she has a husband that sounds very similar. That's just not in his lifestyle. She feels like she's taking time away from him when she's going to work out, but she's connected with people at the gym who are her support system. And so instead of, like she still loves her husband, and of course, but he's not necessarily needing to be in that role of her support. She's found someone else who is going to keep her on the path.
I love that. And okay, so that's the health piece. The exercise piece, same idea. I think that's why it's so important to have an accountability partner at the gym, right? Like I know Shayla's going to be there at 7 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And if I don't show up, I'm going to let her down and myself down. So I'm going to show up and be there at the gym with her. So finding that accountability partner. But let's talk about professionally. I am a huge fan of hiring people who have been a few steps ahead of you. I've had mentors in the business since we started, and I can guarantee you that is one of the reasons why we've been as successful as we've been, because I haven't been having to do this alone. And I think sometimes, especially as a business owner, you feel like you're on an island. Like I don't know what decisions that I'm making today, exactly how it's going to play out. I think I might know, but if we have a new idea or we're launching a new program, I'm going to get some opinions of people who are a few steps ahead of me and give me some different perspectives so I can see some blind spots and we're going to launch something. But I highly recommend hiring professional mentors to help you accelerate your progress in your professional career.
Awesome. And then for the people who might not own businesses, but are employees or something like that, and you're wanting to work forward in your profession, I think it's really helpful to find people in your profession that are doing things that you want to be doing as your next step too. I know for me personally, like I've learned so much from you, Nicole, and I'm so thankful for that. Just like you've taught me how to simplify things for people so that it's more effective, right? Like I'm naturally a complicator. I know there's simplifiers and complicators, and I'm naturally a complicator. So that's why I feel like you're my simplifier. And also in the women's health world, like I found dietitians who are steps ahead of me in the research, and I've done webinars of theirs and, just learned all that I can from the research that they've done in order to take those steps forward.
I think you're 100% right. This isn't just for business owners. It's really to accelerate your professional career in any type of stage that you might be in. And then I also would love to talk about spiritually, right? I know you are a woman of faith and so am I. And I think it's so important to connect yourself with people who are further along in their spiritual journey than you are.
You're right. So, being plugged into a local church is huge, because you can get the encouragement and fellowship of other believers. And I know for me, even like in motherhood as well, like I see other women that, have their Bible study plans, routines just dedicated to them, and how that intertwines with their ability to mother and provide for the community. And that has been so valuable. And yeah, actually another step of faith, I actually just started a Christian yoga teacher training, which
Really?
has been so cool.
You're going to start teaching yoga. Do you want to teach it at the gym?
Yes.
All right. We might have just hired you for something else.
But the cool aspect of it is like, even digging into that helps me dig into the Bible and what God says about postures and prayers throughout the Bible, which has been just another level for me that I never really thought about, like even 5 months ago, which has been really cool.
That's amazing. You are actually working with two of the people that have helped me in my spiritual journey. I was part of a Connect group at the beginning of 2021, and two of the people in that group are now nutrition clients of yours. So it's so cool that they were able to help me spiritually, and now we're able to help them with the health side. So again, I think it's just really important to actively seek out people who are a few steps ahead of you so that you can accelerate your journey. The next thing I want to talk about is making intentional decisions.
That's huge. I love that. And I love how that changes throughout the seasons of our lives, right? Like, because I know for me, it just coming out of like, my daughter is now 2.5. So I feel like I've kind of gotten out of the woods of having that tiny person that you're expending so much energy on. And I'm able to come back into, intentionality. And I know that you are so awesome with this, Nicole. And so I would love to hear kind of your input on intentional decisions.
I think I love new things. We did a Colby test with our mentoring program a few years ago, and it looked at 4 pieces of your personality. And one of the things was like innovation and new things. And I was a 9 out of 10 on that.
Oh, cool.
And 0 on everything else. Thank God we have a well-rounded team that takes care of all the other things, because I can come up with some really good ideas, but that's pretty much the extent of where my strengths are with the company. But I think it's so important. And when we did that test, it helped me realize, okay, I know I love new things. Is this new thing going to help me get where I want to be? Or is it a distraction? Is it a bright and shiny object? And one of the things that we do with the business and with our staff is sit down with everyone, and we do something called the Big 3. And this came from one of my mentors, Michael Hyatt. And we look at, from a business standpoint and personally, what are the 3 things that at the end of 2022, this is success for me. So like with the business, what are the 3 things that are super important for us to carry out in 2022? And that's going to be for nutrition coaching and for mentoring. And every little decision that we make as a company goes back to those 3 things. And when you stay aligned with intentional decisions, your business, your life just catapults so much faster, because you're always moving in the right direction. And are there times that you're going to fall off the wagon? Absolutely. But I think that's one of the most valuable things of coaches and health coaches, nutrition coaches, because we can help you get back on track so fast.
You're right. I think that's one of the powerful things that we use at HSN is always coming back to goal setting, monthly, long-term goals, and kind of bringing clients, especially back to that when their motivation falters, right? So we know that action steps are not easy to do every single day. And sometimes their motivation wanes because life has a lot of moving parts to it, but having that direction in mind helps us go on the right road there.
Absolutely. There's a book called The Best Yes. I think that's a great book for people to read or get on Audible. And it really talks about, is this yes the best yes for you? And Shayla, one of the pastors at Coastal Community Church, was actually talking on our podcast a few months ago. She was talking about, when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And is the thing you're saying no to actually more important to you in the long term than this initial yes that you're saying yes to, right? I think especially women, we don't want to let anyone down, right? We want to, help everyone that we can. And if we're saying yes to something, we're saying no to something else.
You're right. And I see this so much, in my clients, in myself. I know this past year has been, for me personally, a time where I've really thought about those yeses, because they come so easily out of your mouth, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes when it gets to be, you're doing so many things for so many people that you're not doing it with a willing heart, that's not quite right? Something needs to be pared down, and that's so powerful. I love this. Yep.
Awesome.
Words
So
can't be said.
intentional decisions. If you struggle with this, or you struggle like saying yes all the time, or saying yes too much, and you're like, Nicole, I need to start saying no, I challenge you to click the link in the show notes and listen to the podcast with Shayla. She did such an amazing job talking about intentional decisions and being intentional with the path that you want and the life that you want to live. So that's a great podcast. And then tip number 4 really goes back to the foundation, right? Like we have to ditch the diet mentality and really focus on the small habits actions that we're doing to create healthy habits every single day. Because at the end of the day, that's what creates our lifestyle. And I think people always ask, what's one thing that I can do? I personally, in the Healthy Steps nutrition philosophy, the first thing we look at is let's add more whole foods in. And I don't mean like go to Whole Foods and go to shop and get anything. I mean, let's shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Let's add more vegetables and load up your plate with that. You already mentioned it one time, but we need to add in half of our plate to be vegetables. And if you don't have any vegetables, add a little bit of vegetables, have some fruit. We want to focus on whole foods first. If you're already like, Nicole, I eat a lot of vegetables. Okay, maybe the next step for you is to focus on balance. Are you getting protein, carbs, and fats with every meal and snack? That's going to help you stay full and satisfied. You don't just have to have diet stuff or disgusting foods to eat healthy. It was funny. Jason made a delicious dinner last night. He made turkey sausage bolognese. He made a double batch. So we have leftovers today with spaghetti squash, and he had broccoli on the side. And there was so much vegetables and colors on that plate. And it was all fresh foods. It was so delicious. And we had a conversation after it. And he's like, man, it stinks that people think that they have to eat not delicious foods because they're trying to be healthy. Like it doesn't have to be that way.
You're right. And that I think about the clients who have tried the HSN recipes on the recipe page. There's so much awesome feedback about that. Even people who've been eating fast food and then they try one of those recipes, they're like, oh, this is really good. So I love, you're right. Like we can make food so exciting, so fun. And the spices that we add to flavor our foods have really functional components to them too. Like garlic is actually really good for our gut health, and it gives a lot of flavor to our food, so you don't have to add a ton of salt. And turmeric, you don't taste it much, but it adds a lot of fun color to it, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So you're right, eating whole foods is just going to be really helpful for setting up those healthy habits.
So I have to bring up a story with a client that you're actually working with, Kelly and her husband. So I recently gave them the kids' cookbook. They were in the gym and they were getting signed up for nutrition. And I gave them the kids' cookbook. The girls were with them. And she texted me at one point and she's like, Nicole, the turkey burger recipe is so good. I hate turkey burgers, but I love this recipe. They're delicious. And I'm like, awesome, man. And she said, the really cool thing is the girls, she has 2 young girls, they're picking out some of the recipes because they see other kids in the cookbook and they're all doing this as a family. And that just makes me so happy, because if we can start kids seeing adults modeling this behavior, if they start doing it as a family, it's only going to help set kids up for success for the long haul.
You're right. And that whole aspect of going through the book together, planning together, I know, once kids have that planning habit established, that's going to serve them so well as they move through their lives and go into adulthood, because if we have a plan, we're a lot less likely to deviate from that plan and just grab something because we're all ready to go.
I love that. Well, it is the new year. We're going to have an awesome 2022. And I hope this year is the year that people actually make a plan, a health and nutrition plan that works for them, that they ditch the all or nothing mentality and they truly just slow down to speed up their results so that they can become the healthiest versions of themselves. Amanda, thank you for all that you do.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Nicole.
All right. So many good nuggets there. When we were talking about the statistics at the beginning, we were talking about why do people fail New Year's resolutions? It's a new year. Why are we failing? How can we turn those reasons why into opportunities to be successful and make sure that we don't do the things and the reasons why people are failing? So the top things why people failed were unrealistic goals, not keeping track of their progress, forgetting about their New Year's resolutions. And 1 out of every 10 people failed because they made too many resolutions. I think that goes standard with diet culture. We try to change too much at one time and we feel overwhelmed. That's why the step number 1 for this creating a plan that sticks is slow down to speed up your results. You got to focus on one thing at a time. When we look at being successful, I know from interviewing a ton of people on this podcast and just talking to thousands of people who've made changes and made health a way of life over the past 10 years, one of the biggest things that people do is surround themselves with a community of people that support each other. I think that's one of the amazing things about CrossFit and what the CrossFit community has done. I know at our Healthy Subs Nutrition HQ location in CrossFit HSN, we have an amazing family of people. And I say family, and for those of you who've never done CrossFit, you might be thinking, Nicole, it's not a family. Honestly, it is. We're just such a close-knit group of people. I know everything about all the members. I celebrate them. I'm sad with them when they're struggling a little bit. And we just are a true family. So it's cool to connect with other people in that family so that we can all support each other and know where we're headed. We have one girl, Kristen, who she wanted to run a marathon. She recruited like 7 people in our gym to run a marathon. You know, most CrossFitters do not run marathons. Most of these people have never run more than a 5K before, but she recruited them. She was a good ringleader in this, and they all had so much fun. They ran the Disney Marathon. But part of the reason why they did it is because they had that community. They had that support. They had that group keeping each other accountable. Kristen is a really good inspirer and recruiter at our gym. So I actually asked her a few weeks ago to help me with an event that we're doing this weekend on January 8th at Healthy Subs Nutrition headquarters location in Deerfield Beach, Florida. We are hosting a vision board day. And what we're going to do is have everyone picture what success looks like to them at the end of 2022. So you can close your eyes for a second and just picture, what does success look like at the end of the year for you? What does your family situation look like? What is your job situation? What have you done professionally to grow yourself? What about spiritually? What about your health? Where are you health-wise? What are you doing in the gym? How often are you exercising? What are you doing? I think a lot of times we don't visualize what success looks like and why it's important to us and how we'll feel when we get there. And when we do that, all the hard decisions we have to make every single day, those intentional decisions that we were talking about in this podcast, become easier because we know where we're headed. We have a roadmap. We have a compass. So we're going to do something called a vision board brunch at Healthy Subs Nutrition. I am personally so excited about this because I think it's just going to be a really fun community event. People will be able to put on their vision boards what success looks like to them, in health-wise, in the gym, nutrition, spiritually, financially. Maybe it's traveling. Maybe they want to go to a specific place and do this specific thing, or maybe it's connecting with old people. We want to foster a community environment. We have such an amazing community, and I think sometimes we get super busy, but we have to slow down and really enjoy the people that are around us. So we're super excited to host this. I know there are quite a few gyms that run the Healthy Subs Nutrition program that are also doing this at their gym on January 8th or the following weekend. I'm just so excited to have this event and connect with all of our members and really help them support them on their goals. So if we have someone who's looking to run a marathon, awesome. Let's connect you with someone else who's looking to do that same thing. So if you are a member at HSN, please make sure that you lock in your spot, register for it. We're charging $15 for it just so that I have, the money to cover all of the vision board supplies. We're going to get it all. So it's super easy. All you have to do is show up and have fun. We'll have some mimosas and some beer. It's just going to be a really good community building event. So super excited about that. We are officially celebrating 10 years at Healthy Subs Nutrition. Our media team made an amazing video showing the backstory of Healthy Subs Nutrition, how this thing came together. So if you click the link in the show notes, you'll be able to check that out. We're so excited to be able to share that story with you guys. And I just want to say thank you to all of our staff and all of the people who've trusted us on their journey. It's been an amazing 10 years, and I can't wait for the next 10 to help inspire more people to make health a way of life, one step at a time. All right, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and we'll see you back here next week.